Hey everyone. Well, it must be Wednesday. You're here hanging out with us at today's SEJ webinar, and I am here with the founder and head of digital PR strategy at PureLink, Kevin Rowe. Kevin, love having you on our webinar. How are you doing today? Welcome back.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
So, for everybody out there watching, Kevin's going to talk today about some ways that his digital PR firm earns links and go over the methodology for that. Before we get into that, I'm going to do some housekeeping, let everybody get in, get settled. Use the chat. Tell us where you're calling in from today. Tell us how you're feeling. What are you excited about today? We got Jonathan in the background. If you experience any technical difficulties, he can give you a hand. I guess before we get into it, I'm sorry, my name's Heather. I assume everybody out there knows, but that's not the case. I'm going to be your moderator today. So yeah, if you have any technical difficulties, use the chat box to let us know. We do have closed captioning. It's the little CC in the top right corner of your screen. Give that a click. And we are going to be taking questions at the end for Kevin. So if you have any questions, enter them in the Q&A tab, or you can put them in the chat. If you see a question that you like, you can give it a little thumbs up, and that'll tell us that it's important to more than one of you out there. We'll try to front load those if we can. Like I said, we're going to take as many of those questions that we can at the end, and you will also receive today's recording and the slides in your inbox later. At the end of the presentation, we do a quick survey. Takes about 30 seconds, lets us know how today's webinar was for you, how we can make them more useful. And yeah, with that, I'm gonna get out of here. I love seeing where everybody is coming in from. We got Germany, the UK. We're global, Kevin. They're here to see you. So I'm gonna get out of here. We're gonna talk about bye guys.
Great. Thanks, Heather. Again, I'm Kevin Rowe, and we'll be talking about how my PR firm earns hundreds of links, over a 30-day period just from digital PR. A little bit about me. So I founded 10 plus companies, 3 in SEO and PR. I'm founder and head in strategy of PureLink, specialized in integrated marketing communications. I've spent a lot of time specifically in enterprise SEO, PR, and advanced web analytics since 2009. Built and scaled SEO teams of over 100 marketers. I've worked on companies such as Coca-Cola, RingCentral, Siemens, Hyatt, VMware, and you'll see a lot of my thought leadership, Fast Company, Search Engine Journal, of course, Atlantic, Forbes, and Search Engine Land, for example. PureLink is a digital PR for SEO company. I'll explain this is important because it ties into what we're going to be talking about. We use media trends, expert commentary, and unique data to secure media coverage that earns links and brand mentions. Brand mentions are something that's drastically overlooked. 2 ways we do this: expert commentary and unique data. So we find existing, easy to access, publicly available data, provide crawls, or do unique surveys, data points that we can get together very quickly and with kind of low effort to support journalist stories. And the types of things we do, there's 4 general methodologies: data campaigns, using unique research and data visualization. That's a lot of what we'll talk about today, of how you can do that as well. We won't be talking about what PureLink does. I'll explain exactly how you can do it. Thought leadership, using expert commentary and guest contributions, podcasts to secure media coverage and mentions. Reactive PR, which is trend monitoring, and we'll talk a lot about trends today. And then inbound PR, optimizing content for journalists. So journalists there's ways that you can optimize your content so journalists will actually find your content. We've worked with companies across a lot of different niches. Software companies, education, cybersecurity, CPG, hospitality, universities, finance, fintech, we've probably played in that vertical. But what we'll be discussing today, so I'm going to give you a 30-day roadmap that you can use to get your first digital PR links and mentions. These are campaigns you should be able to run yourself. How to create a data campaign that journalists just can't resist. And then I'm also going to give you some ChatGPT prompts and ideas of how you can use ChatGPT for ideation and list planning. So planning out what kind of lists you should be building in order to email and pitch journalists. But why PR for SEO? I think this is actually very important. This is interesting. Actually, Brent from Search Engine Journal noted this to me on a run through of the presentation. I thought this was clever. In 2015, Facebook, just to give you an idea of how powerful algorithms are, not just Google's, but like Facebook in 2015 was able to actually predict to some degree a lot about a person based on just a very small number of things that they like. Right. So imagine how powerful Google is right now when Facebook was able to do this in 2015 to understand a reputation of a site. Now, the reputation of a site is different than just links and brand mentions. Digital PR goes way beyond that. Now, in this, in this example here, Facebook back in 2015 was able to, like, after about 10 likes, they could pick up on your personality better than a work colleague. And then, as you see on the bottom here, after about 3,000 likes, Facebook was actually able to understand your personality better than a spouse in a lot of cases. That's intense. So imagine how Google can understand the reputation of a site, what the site is about. Before, links used to be what sites were about, right? So it helped Google understand how relevant that site was to a topic. What the anchor text helped them understand what was relevant to a topic. It's not like that anymore. How powerful AI is. And AI is really changing how these algorithms are able to understand what a site is about and deliver the best results and most accurate results and most relevant results for the search intent, right? So they're really able to understand the intent for the keyword. Moreover, on brands. So this is just some examples, a sample of a study we did where we examined the top ranking sites across a lot of cybersecurity keywords and looked at the number of brand mentions, brand anchor texts, and US search volume for the brand names. I know some of these are big names like Cisco, but what we noticed, and there's some generic names like JIT is a generic term, so it makes it a little bit harder to find brand mentions when it comes to that. They might be a little inflated. But then you also see things like Imigate, right? Where it has very small number of search volumes, monthly search volume, but it also has a significant number of brand mentions. What I consistently see is that brand mentions and branded anchor text is something that is really, if you want to rank in the top 3 to top 5 of Google, it seems to be a major consideration, right? So if even Test Bytes down here, which only has 20, but I still don't see any sites ranking in the top 3 for highly competitive terms that don't have some people searching the brand online, mentioning the brand online, and possibly including branded anchor text. Digital PR for SEO is on the rise, right? So in 2015, this is a Google trend chart that shows search volume in the US for digital PR SEO. And over the last few years, it's been on the rise because of what I just showed you. Because Google's algorithm is getting significantly better at understanding beyond the links. And we've heard Google state, I typically don't believe Google representatives on, I don't say believe them, but I take everything they say with a grain of salt, meaning that, when they say links are not as important as they used to be, now I'm actually seeing it being true in the market. Links alone are not as important as they used to be. The context within the links, how they're getting mentioned, what kind of articles they're getting mentioned in. Is it real journalists, real customers talking about the brand? And this idea of getting links from, using PR to get links, brand mentions, share unique data about customers from real experiences, that's taking over. It's going to just keep getting better. So I think right now, before in say 2015, I was I'm a huge advocate of link building. And I think links are still important, but links are not as important outside of the context of where they are, right? So in press, in podcasts, in relation to your expertise and across the customer journey. Talking of the customer journey, I'm going to be offering training on integrated PR and SEO. So we'll be talking about how digital PR earns links for SEO, but digital PR goes way beyond that. There's an integration between SEO and PR that a lot of marketing professionals can use to drive the impact of both. You can increase the ROI of both channels by integrating both together. So in this training, there's a 101 introductory course. It's going to be an email course, and you can scan the QR code on the right for that. And then I'll also be providing a mini MBA for marketing leaders. So that one's much more advanced and gives you a roadmap to roll out a integrated PR and SEO strategy with your internal teams. If you have internal PR and SEO teams, how to get them to collaborate. Or if you have a PR and you have SEO in-house, or you have PR in-house and you want to integrate both and you're using maybe vendors, the mini MBA is for marketing leaders that want to know how to integrate both, perform an integrated strategy. So we'll be going over the buyer journey map. So what the unique value proposition and key touch points for customers in these courses. PR and SEO funnels, how to use SEO and PR together to create funnels from media to search engines to websites. And then once they're on the website, convert them over to a user or a customer, or have them take some sort of engaged action. How to drive brand search with PR and SEO. That's actually vastly, underlooked. And what's a PR topic tour? So how to integrate PR and SEO around these topic tours, aligning topics on-site and off-site. We'll also be going over PR and SEO enablement. So how to enable a PR team or an SEO team with the content and the material they need to talk about stay aligned on the right topics. And then a new measurement system. I think integrated PR and SEO requires much different measurement. It's not a channel strategy where we're just looking at ranking anymore. We're just looking at media measured value. So we're looking at how both of them are working together. What are the integrated metrics? And as far as I can tell, there's no other courses out there like this. So you can use the QR codes to sign up, and you'll get more information about those. So let's talk about how this works, how PR link building works, and how we've been able to secure links with digital PR. Again, it's not about links. It's links and brand mentions. This is an example of one of my friends, actually, Juliet Travis, who's a PR, probably one of the most amazing PR people I've ever known. And she has a client called Kahoot. And as you can see here, there's actually a brand mention of Kahoot. It doesn't even link to their study, but it does mention the study. Google's able to understand this. When it says that Kahoot's research, and then there's a citation of Kahoot's research, now more than ever, that's a significant signal to Google. It's a potentially zero click, maybe you want to, or no link mention, but these mentions are actually significant. And using data and research allows you to do that. But then there's also links within these statistical links. You see these as well, where it says 1% of LinkedIn users, and then it links out to the article, which mentions the study. So these types of links are surprisingly useful. And brand mentions. Again, it's links and brand mentions. Data is important. So this is a LinkedIn post that I made, simply showing the brand search volume between Moz, Ahrefs, and SEMrush. And at the time, Ahrefs and SEMrush were drastically overtaking Moz in the US. And this post got 57,000 impressions. And I'm not an influencer. I'm not I actively avoid trying to get too big of a following on LinkedIn or social. But there's posts like this when we share data, right, that there's significant engagement with. This gains traction because people engage with data, and journalists know that. Data helps people make decisions. They feel confident in the content, and they really engage with it. They want more of it. It helps them understand the concept better. So data and expert framing are extremely important. And here's an example of a data storyline we did. So US outsourcing to Mexico was an interesting idea. So we found that sometime last year there was some topics and discussion around U.S. manufacturing in a recession, and and there was a few articles that were published about it, and we were able to comb through data and find publicly available data talking about things like manufacturing job openings in the U.S. We also found that there was a growing interest in people outsourcing to Mexico or researching Mexico. So we use Google Trends as well to identify an increasing search volume in for the term Mexican manufacturing outsourcing. And you can see here as well, the number of job openings around December 2021 started to decline in the US. Well, this happened at the same time labor rates started to increase. So US labor rate 2021-2023 was significantly on the rise. Now, this is a significant story in the US. So we already know, we found a trend, US manufacturing in a recession. We found publicly available data that tells a part of that story that nobody was covering. And then we use that to secure media coverage. So there's three elements to these, how these links were built and how these brand mentions are built. And it's unique research, expertise for the individual or company, and what's trending, long-term trends and short-term trends on events, people and topics. So that's what a digital PR is. And that's at least digital PR that earns links and brand mentions. And these are three elements you want to consider in everything that you do if you're doing digital PR. Importance of research. So journalists, 68% of journalists will use original research and data. They like to see that in their pitches, right? So that's an interesting statistic about how important research is to journalists and to pitching. They'll use that. There's also an importance to expertise, right? So number two most used source for content ideas is industry experts. 66% of journalists say that they want PR professionals to provide experts to them. And that's why we use expert commentary. We are able to pitch experts to journalists at scale, provide the exact experts they need for the story that's in front of them. And then trends are the next component of this. So trends are, you need to find trends and in order for it to be relevant. And 74% of journalists say they want relevant, they want PR to understand the relevancy, the story's relevancy to the audience. 3 and 4 will block you. I mean, this is 100% true. Journalists will block you if you're sending irrelevant stories. And the easiest way to stay relevant is make sure that it's trending, a trending topic, and trending on their publications or related to stories that they cover. And link building versus digital PR, I think, is an interesting concept to grasp here. Link building used to be, and it still is, just links, maybe some brand mentions, finding do follow and no follow links, using domain rating and domain authority, as a measure of quality, finding broken links and guest posts. That still does work to some degree, but most of that is not significantly relevant, and it's becoming less relevant. What is becoming relevant is customer stories, data-driven storylines, thought leadership, building a site's reputation, the reputation of site content, and the people behind it, the experts there. And that's why expert commentary, podcasts, and press are now becoming the new, kind of the new link building, but it's not link building. It's different. It really is digital PR. And so here's how the process works. Very simply put, you start out with your topical expertise, right? So what are you actually an expert in? So link building before was just selecting sites based on authority, or can we get a link? Is it contextually relevant? Now it's really, what is your expertise? And who is the audience you're talking to? What is the customer journey? And what kind of content do they need on that journey to solve the problem that they're solving? And the customer journey map is an extremely useful tool that I highly recommend you understand and start to build out. And in our training course, we cover a lot of this topical expertise and what the customer journey maps are and how to build. Trending stories, right? So next is making sure you have trends, storylines related to those trends. Then you're building out unique research related to those storylines, and then you develop the list and pitch. And it's not a linear process always. Sometimes you have to test the list and pitch, and then use design thinking to find new unique research that are related to the trends, or sometimes you have to start over and find new trends. That is part of the process. It's not, if you're not experimenting, there's a good chance your program's going to fail, at least at first. So, and as you get better and more precise, there's a lot less testing. Now, there's a concept I call PR topic tours, and you might want to search Google for this. So if you Google PR topic tours, you'll find this idea that you can align on-page SEO and digital PR together around an individual topic, and these are also keywords as well. So in order to rank, and for this to help you rank, the PR topic tours are a useful technique. And if you Google it, you'll see some content. I believe Google PureLink shows up, ranks pretty highly for this, and you can read some of the content we have around it. And if you take our training, we're going to be training in the training courses. We'll be providing information about PR topic tours and how to integrate it. So here's a 30-day roadmap of how this works. You're going to start out with, this should not take that long to do, and this is not full-time, effort for one person, but one person can possibly do a lot of this. Expertise in customer journey, start out in that, usually week 1. That could take you maybe 1 to 2 days to do, especially if you're using ChatGPT. In part of our training course, we're explaining how to use ChatGPT to build a customer journey map. Then trends and stories, you can start in week 1 to week 2. Research shouldn't take longer than a few days to a week. If it's taking longer than that, you're doing too much research and you're getting too deep into it. List building as well, that should take, you should be able to get that done actually in a few days. You're not building massive lists, you're building small, concise, curated lists that are highly targeted from the stories. The pilot and scale component does take a lot more time. We're able to test, testing the lists and refining the process. So here's a quick overview of the key components of this. From customer journey all the way down to testing and scaling. So a couple of key points about this. Again, expertise and customer journey are really combined. Those are two things you want to work on together. What is your expertise? What pains do you solve? And how does the customer, what's the customer journey around solving and understanding that? What touch points do they have? What pains are they experiencing around this, the expertise that you have, and how do you solve their pain points? Trending stories, both long-term and short-term media trends. That's two different things. Google Trends is a little bit longer term. Short-term means you're actually reading through stories, just like we did with the examples I provided above. And then unique research through public data, crawls, surveys. And then the list and pitch process, going through thought leadership, finding journalists and editors, and even podcasts. And podcasts, yes, you can get links from podcasts, especially the websites. And they might not be most authoritative, but highly contextual, very useful placements. And then the testing and scaling, which I'll explain, but you're testing storylines, sources, and techniques. All right, so let's get into the meat of this. The next few slides, the rest of this presentation, I'm going to explain, each of these steps in detail. So first off, individual expertise versus company expertise. So you have C-suite engineers, sales and marketing. There's different expertise that you have they can use to pitch the media, right? They need these expert sources. You can use this in guiding data and guiding research. Company expertise can be different, but a lot of it tends to align. So your products and services are an expertise, right? So that's why customer stories and testimonials and use cases can be such useful tools in digital PR. Special projects, special technologies that you have. if you have any unique technologies in house that you can use to solve specific problems, it doesn't even have to be your own technology that you're selling to the customer. Sometimes you'll find that technology, you'll have unique technologies or process or templates that you use that can be useful. I'm doing that right now. I'm giving, part of my training course, I'm giving away a lot of the templates and processes we've used. And then process that can help with specific audiences, right? So it's all about who you're talking to. So the customer journey is a big part of, that's going to tie into the customer journey next. For those of you who don't know what a customer journey map is, you can customize this in many different ways. PureLink has a very, very detailed, unique way to map out the customer journey. But a general process is awareness, consideration, and decision. So you become aware that you have a problem, and you understand there's solutions out there. You're then from there, you're considering options to solve those solutions. Then you're making a decision to buy or take action to solve it, right? After that, there's some other steps, of course, like retention. So how do you retain those people? And then advocacy. How do does that audience actually advocate for you later? But typically when you're going through an acquisition or demand generation or a digital PR program around those objectives, awareness, consideration, decision are key areas to create content and provide research and establish your expertise. Pains, gains, I use workflows as opposed to tasks, but pains and gains are extremely important. What are the main pains around the workflows that people are going through? So for example, if you're an SEO and your workflow, you're going through a link building workflow. Well, one of the pains right now is link building is not working. So part of that customer journey is understanding that the problem with link building right now, there is a problem with link building right now, and the solution a lot of times is digital PR. Or there's other there's other options that you might explore as well. But when it comes to like alternatives to link building, digital PR is becoming the alternative. So when you're building out a customer journey map, you want to add these to it so you can use that to guide some of your content later on. The questions that customer have are actually very important at this stage. And these questions and motivations that they have at each stage, right? So these questions that they have will guide the content and the research that you're going to be producing. And then what are the touch points, right? The customers go through. The customer touch, they'll be using LinkedIn. They can use press. Sometimes they listen to podcasts all around this specific idea, this topic, these problems, right? So an audience will go through a series of sites, a series of what we call touch points, before they go to your website. Maybe your website is one of those touch points. Maybe your blog is a touch point, right? So the more people see you at these different touch points where you help solve that problem for them, you help explain the issue, you help provide options that help them solve the problem, you make great cases for why your solution is possibly the better option. Those touch points give you an opportunity to make a case for your product, then help the customer. Google's algorithm and their AI is getting better at understanding these customer touch points and understanding if your content is taking place at these touch points. Does your content align with the customer journey? Google understands the customer journey, what they need at different stages. And as you can see in 2015, Facebook and even Google, certainly Google was able to very well understand the content relevancy. And now in 2024, and we see the power of AI, these customer touch points and having content at those touch points that talk about key things at those touch points that are relevant to the audience during that stage of the journey is becoming a considerable factor in whether or not Google applies any value to the links or the brand mentions that you have. So, the customer journey helps the algorithm understand. Well, I don't have proof of this, but to me, this makes complete sense that the customer journey Google understands your links and your brand mentions are part of that journey, and if people are sharing it and talking about it during those stages. And then customer action is the last component of this. So a customer action is, do they want to download a document at that stage of the journey, right? So in awareness stage of a customer journey, a lot of times you're looking for data. You want to understand, does this problem exist, right? Is there a solution to it, or should we stick to the status quo? Customer actions, downloading documents for when they're in the awareness stage, or if they're in consideration stage, they might want to download and review case studies, right? So these are actions they can take. So after you get through the customer journey, trends and stories and storylines are extremely important, and they need to relate to the customer journey and your expertise. So finding story-worthy trends, anything 3, 6, or 12 months, old. Sometimes you have to find trends that are, honestly, within a few days. My director of digital PR, we were talking about a story where they pitched, I believe it was New York Times, editor at the New York Times, and their reply back was, "You're a day too late." Let that sink in. Sometimes these trends are, for the angles that the journalists need to take, are a little bit too late. You need to get to some of these stories, you need to get to quickly. Google Trends, there's tools out there like BuzzSumo, Google Trends, Google News, social media, as we saw before. Journalists are using social media to find trends. Competitor support forums or unresolved problems, which I'll show an example of how I've used surveys and social media to uncover some interesting trending stories. So regulatory industry-wide trends, topical trends, or specific people and company events is what you're looking for. So for example, Google Gemini just launched, and there's obviously a ton of interest and information around that right now. So keeping up on Google Gemini, having expertise in SEO and digital marketing and search, gives you an opportunity to, obviously is something trending that gives you an opportunity to talk about and find relevancy in the market right now. Then you can take that and come up with available research related to that story. So typically, you don't need to go out and do your own studies. You can find available industry trend reports, find data that's already, you can find ranking studies or other data related to the events and the trends. And then you go after the storylines from that, right? So storylines, you might want to build your own. You could potentially find new data and public data. You could find other areas to cover here, and experts for the events are really important. Story-based topics, additional research, or even case studies you can use are all possible storylines related to those trends. So again, your expertise, media trends, and the customer journey, that'll help you create that storyline, and that more of a relevant storyline. Again, we're not evaluating links by domain authority or the link profile of the site anymore. A lot of it is about, is the audience there, and is it fit the customer journey? Again, data, and you can find data anywhere. And I used LinkedIn to understand if this type of information was relevant to people. And in this case, my understanding of SEO made this, I have some degree of expertise in understanding brand search volume because I do a lot of analysis of brand search. So this trend analysis using Google Trends, where with Moz, Ahrefs, and SEMrush brand search volume, I was able to use LinkedIn to find an interesting concept and explore, and I found that people are very interested in this topic. So I took it even further, and then I ran a poll. LinkedIn polls can give you help you find trends. And you don't need that many people, right, to vote to understand, is there something going on here? In this poll, I was kind of curious because there was a recent increase in cost for Ahrefs. Not recent; it's been well over a year. But there was actually there was some chatter about it, And I was curious to find out if people were happy with this cost increase or if it was pretty insignificant. And although this was, just a small number of votes, 67 votes, this helped me understand that there was a number of people out there extremely unhappy with this, right? So this is story worthy. This is interesting data, and this is an example how you can use polls on LinkedIn even to understand if there's a story there. And this poll alone got 11,000 impressions, and 67 likes. So and then 89 comments. So that, again, not a lot of votes, but has significant engagement. People were interested in it. Again, I'm not an influencer, nor am I ever trying to be, but my data, or using data like this and getting significant, responses in a certain way, one direction or another, is a great way to identify these trends. You can use ChatGPT to help you bring uncover the story as well. So in this case, going back to my manufacturing in a recession topic, I prompted ChatGPT to help me come up with some potential angles around this. And this is the prompt I used, and I'll show you the output here in a minute. But, I'm simply asking for ChatGPT to help me come up with topic ideas around these trends. ChatGPT is actually interesting tool for it. Obviously, you're not going to use these exactly as is in your report, and you want to just make sure that ChatGPT isn't plagiarizing anything, but you can use it to guide your ideas. And it's spit out of really some interesting results, like resilience in manufacturing, great topic to pitch journalists on, sustainability practices, technology and automation, which is actually trending right now, right? Local success stories is also another one. Anything with customer success stories, especially if they're localized. And global collaboration is another potential. I don't know if that was a great one, but that's interesting. A few other topics it provided, like training and skill development, discussing the importance of workforce training programs and advanced manufacturing roles. You're right. So this makes sense for the survey I gave above, or excuse me, the trend analysis and data we provided gained from above. Policy and support, consumer trends influencing manufacturing, all of this can tie into the data and give us reasons to pitch the media. So we have we have a few different data points from above about manufacturing in a recession, and 10 different angles we can take to pitch the media on and see which one works. Now you can see why testing is so important. So with the data, so, again, you can do data after, sometimes you can do it before that step. You want to start out with a question. What does the audience have? What questions does the audience have about these trends, right? So what are questions that are unanswered? I like to call them FUQs, frequently unasked questions. And so I don't like to find frequently asked questions. I like to find questions that nobody's answered but are interested in. You can there's 3 different ways to do this. Again, public data, you can use unique crawls like Python crawls. There's crawlers out there you can use crawler APIs, do surveys like I showed before. You can go to usa.gov, data.gov, CDC's website, Pew Research, even FBI Crime and Data Explorer are all sites that provide unique data that you can use to uncover insights for trending stories related to your expertise or your these are just a sample. There's a ton of places to gather data, ton. You can do 10Ks of publicly traded companies. We're doing an analysis right now of the 10Ks in publicly traded companies. Next step is data visualization. And there's a couple tools you can use. Flourish and PictoChart are a couple of great ones. You can actually get this for free. I visualize this chart using Flourish. You can Google Flourish and it'll explain, you'll see what it is, but it creates these amazing charts out of data, interactive charts that you can engage with. So after you have the data, you have it visualized, and you're ready to pitch, you have your stories, you have your angles. Next, you have to build a list of publishers, journalists, and podcasts, there's blogs and possible social areas, clients or partners you can use in social. So this list building, there's multiple ways to do it. I'll explain some softwares that you can do it, but you're going to be customizing a pitch by each category. So you can take these journalists, these publishers, categorize them, create a pitch based on the journalist content, the podcast, or the media. Then, so you can use these. You can build lists and tools like Muckrack or Prowly right now, or some of the there are many others actually, but Muckrack and Prowly are two of the biggest. Prowly is from SEMrush. SEMrush actually has done a great job with that tool, and it's the tool is I find that it actually has a massive database. Muckrack is an annual program. It's fairly expensive. Prowly is also expensive and has an annual option, but there's a month-to-month. And there's another tool called One Pitch, which is like $50 a month. And it is so freaking interesting, and I don't hear anybody talking about it. It's an AI tool that helps you build lists from your pitch. And this is huge. Muckrack also has a feature to do this as well, where you find a list of journalists and you can use AI to find similar journalists, right? So you have a story now, you're going to use that story to find journalists. And I'll take this story and I'll use ChatGPT to help me identify what types of journalists we should be searching for as well. So you can see here, in this case, I prompted ChatGPT to give me some journalist ideas. What types of journalists should I be finding and searching for? So listen, AI is, this is something it would take me maybe a couple hours to brainstorm, like what types of journalists would work for these stories. And now this is, it spits it out in, a matter of a few seconds. So just looking at the manufacturing sector and the story that we had above, maybe we build journalist lists, business journalists lists, and then industry reporters. There's industry specific reporters out there that we can actually look for people, reporters looking at specifically covering manufacturing practices, policies, and stuff like that. Technology and innovative journalists as well. That's actually that's pretty huge. You see like TechCrunch and even mainstream publications have tech journalists or AI specific journalists. Even environmental reporters. There's environment specific reporters or journalists that are just really passionate about the environment that you're able to find. And the list keeps going. Education, global trade journalists, consumer affairs, journalists interested in these different topics. And there's a lot of different angles you can take. And as I mentioned, One Pitch. So this is actually a screenshot of the software One Pitch. And what you do is enter in, this gives you what is your pitch, and you can prompt it, give it a subject line, add your pitch in here. And then from there, it will spit out a list of, it'll actually spit out a list of journalists for you that would be interested in that pitch. So in this case, it was labor and workplace journalists. This is specifically what we use for that. I blocked out the names. So you see this gray bar is actually where I blocked out the names. I blocked out the emails. I don't want to be blasting journalists' names and emails out there, even though they're available. I'd hate somebody to get, block us. But you can see here name, role, outlet, email, and activity score, how active that journalist is. And in this case, we found senior writers, reporters, corporate culture, contributors, online editors, engagement reports, right? So like labor and workforce and workplace journalists alone were a huge opportunity for this specific pitch we had. So you're going to be creating these, segmenting your pitches by journalist again. So typical things you'll need with this is contact, focus of the journalist, like labor shortages, right? So Jill, journalist here, for example, labor shortage and automation saving lives is a thing she's written about. She also publishes in the New York Times and several other places. And you look for examples that they have, and then use this information to create a pitch angle. So you have your information, your topics already, and you have your research, but you need to create angles specific to the journalists. So U.S. job, for example, U.S. jobs going cross cross borders, not overseas, right? So outsourcing to Mexico. Can automation save jobs in the U.S.? It might be a great angle for this type of journalist. The impact of rising labor on anything, right? That's a topic that these journalists might be interested in. So look at the contact, look at examples of their content, read through their content. Remember, they want relevant trends or they might block you. Relevant content. Don't pitch them irrelevant things. And then you got to find the right angle that's the interest of them. So on the testing and scaling, this is actually an extremely deep topic. I'm not going to go into this too deeply right now, but I'll give you a couple of ideas of things you should be looking at. So first off is, media segments, storylines, and then test variations of that. There's also techniques you can test, like, for example, using an expert byline to discuss solutions to trending pains, right? Funding studies with a geo market rank to earn links. There's whole techniques here. And the techniques are not just like, pitch this journalist. Techniques are what you're doing to solve a problem, what you're doing to drive traffic, not earn links, earn mentions, and then even start to funnel people, drive brand search, right? So there's endless techniques that you can test, and you should be coming up with 3, 5, maybe even 10 of these each quarter to think through. And then lastly, what I'll say is we use what's called an MERS grid. So you take the technique, say transformational op-ed. An op-ed is like a guest post, but guest contribution on a big site. And you got to determine whether to maintain, eliminate, reduce, or scale that technique. Did it work, right? Did it not work? You want to do this on a quarterly or maybe, every 6 months. You're going to evaluate the techniques that you're going through and look at, did it earn links and mentions? Did it drive conversions, growth, authority? Grow your authority personally, not domain authority, but like grow your authority within an audience. And then did it drive action? So that's it. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn. You can connect me on Twitter, I guess X, as well. So you can scan that code. If you open up the LinkedIn app on your phone and you scan that, or you scan that in an image, it'll open up your LinkedIn and we can connect. Or you can email PureLink at info@purelink.com for more information about how we can generate links and brand mentions through digital PR with you as well. That's it.
Kevin, thank you. We've got some questions. Probably not as much time as you originally thought we'd have for questions, but we've got about 12 minutes. Let's see what we can do. I'm actually going to take us down. So next webinar is there. If you go to searchenginejournal.com, you can sign up for that. I'm actually going to take this down, Kevin, because we have a cool new feature. Okay, so Chris asks, and we have 2 votes, and I actually saw more questions about this, but we have questions about the cost for the courses, Kevin. So anything there?
Oh, they're free. So we're just going to be training. I think it's just too important. So all the training courses are free.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So Katie asks, how do you measure ROI on digital PR? She goes on to say that they've, had examples of how they've grown revenue for clients, and I'll let you read through the rest of this. Can you see this, Kevin?
Yep. So what you want to do is narrow it down to specific topics and areas and actions on the website. So a lot of what PR helps you do is you can get document downloads as one measure, and then that helps you build an email list. So what you're looking for is PR, so media coverage, podcasts. Drive that to search engines that look for either brand search volume. Brand search volume is actually a very important component to the ROI of PR. Right. So like if more people are searching for your brand, that is a strong indicator that your messaging is resonating. Right. And then once they go to the website, so if let's say you're promoting a study that you've done, are they downloading the document? It doesn't have to be huge. Again, you can do this in 30 days. You can create a downloadable document that's a simple study inside of a week. And then, those downloads are, when they download the document, now you're looking through them for marketing qualified or sale qualified leads. So sometimes you can even use this. We're actually helping a company own a category right now. So in startup and technology, and really startups or business in general, you can create and own your category. Digital PR helps you identify and own a category. Right. So PureLink is, I don't say we own digital PR as a category, but digital PR link building, we're heavily, we're one of the main players. Right. So obviously through a lot of different ways we do our own PR work. We're driving people to the search engines to find the brand name. I've increased search volume for the brand name of PureLink, I'd say over the last 3 months by about 5,000%. Through very targeted campaigns. So brand search volume, brand mentions, how people are engaging with and sharing your brand online are all measures. You can use even SEMrush. You can use SEMrush or Google Search Console to find how many people are searching for your brand, and if you have branded studies or branded research as well. Like topic tours are our concept. Right. And I'm looking for more people searching for Google for topic tours. Nobody's going to search that except as we generate demand for it. And for me, there's a huge ROI to it because we own that topic in that category. Right. And there's a very specific audience that's going to be searching for that. And they're going to be marketing qualified and even sales qualified. And there'll be more in the training course around that as well.
And I think that's a good segue for this question from Ben. And you touched on this a little bit, but asking specifically, do you use SEMrush or other tools as part of your process?
Yep. So Ahrefs and SEMrush. SEMrush doesn't replace Ahrefs fully. Ahrefs has a really cool report that helps you find media coverage. It's the Content Explorer. I love that tool. So Ahrefs, their pricing is a little problematic, but as far as tools, I don't think there's much of a, it's hard to replace something as good as that tool. So yeah, SEMrush. Now we use SEMrush for evaluating, keyword ranking improvements as a result, brand search volume changes potentially. It's a little hard to do it with that. It does also help us find some media, but I like to use Ahrefs. Content Explorer to find brand mentions or mentions of competitors and things like that. But for the most part, these tools, like even Ahrefs and SEMrush, I don't use it for media list building anymore. It's a very small part of it. And Prowly, which is an SEMrush tool, is actually a better solution for that. And it's even better than I'd say Ahrefs when it comes to media list building.
Okay, so question from Melly. What are your best recommendations to drive the collaboration between the PR and SEO teams?
PR topic tours, number one. Number two, customer journey mapping. So customer journey, again, gives you the touch points of where the customer is going to be, what websites they do, what social communities they are part of, what podcasts do they listen to, and what are the pain points that they want to go to those podcasts and places to learn more about, right? So the customer journey map is important. And then PR topic tours align on-page content to off-page content to search engines. You got to align those three things, right? So you select a topic that, let's say digital PR. We don't try to rank for it in Google, but digital PR link building, for example. You create content on your website around digital PR link building. You have studies around it. Maybe it's link building alternatives, right? So now you create relevant content on the website about it. Then you potentially try to rank in Google for those types of terms, maybe brand terms. And then you do a topic tour, PR topic tour. If you Google PR topic tour, you'll learn more about it. But you'll do a topic tour on podcasts, trade websites, maybe releases to press, and then driving them to search Google for these terms, right? Topic tour is an example of that. Guarantee there's people on this webinar that are going to go out and search for the idea of topic tour. Topic tour is something that PureLink owns, a concept that I've created to help simplify how to align SEO and PR. These topic tours are extremely important way to simplify it. Simplification is very important. So PR topic tours, customer journey mapping are two extremely important tools to collaborate.
Okay, so from Michael, it says the ideation process looks solid, not quite drawing the connection between the pitch process and how the brand gets itself mentioned. Do your clients generate their own research?
Clients do, we do research, or we use clients' research. Sometimes you have to optimize the research. But we typically it's turnkey, and we do all the research for clients too. It's a full, everything we just laid out, we do all of that fully. So I have a research team in-house that we use. So the brand mentions, the connection between the pitch process and brand mentions. So that's where the expert source comes in. So we're pitching you as an expert source. So Kevin Rao as an expert in integrated PR and SEO. If we pitch a study to, and this is good feedback, maybe I need to update this presentation. If you pitch your expertise as an expert in integrated PR and SEO, and I have a study about integrated PR and SEO, the press wants commentary about this idea, right? So press, they want experts to help explain things, frame ideas, frame concepts, simplify ideas, or hone in on what's important. So really it comes down to that expert commentary I mentioned before. That's where this aligns for the brand mention. So, and you'll see from the study, the example with Kahoot's study on X. Again, Kahoot's not our client; it's a friend's client, a PR friend, Julia Travis. But that's an example of how you can use research to earn brand mentions from your expertise.
And then, how many people were involved in the process? So if we're talking about like building these links over a month, what does that? Yeah, what type of team does that take?
The mini MBA course that we have will actually explain that. It'll map that out. So if you sign up for that mini MBA course on PureLink's website, if you go to PureLink, you'll see it. It's on there in the resources. We have 3 people per team. So you're going to have a PR lead, and they come up with the storylines, do the analysis and all that. Then we have a media relations person, media relations going out there, finding media lists, doing analysis based on the trends, and then a researcher. And we have a research team, and the researchers will actually take the topics and go out and find data that's relevant to it, pivot it, and then we have designers we use as well sometimes. That's a part of it. To help take the graphics and visualize them. Something's more digestible. A UX person's usually ideal.
I know you touched on this a little bit, but this might be the last question. We'll say, how do you know if your PR efforts improved your authority? Anything specific that you can measure?
Brand search volume. So are people searching? There's a couple of different types of brand search volume, which is nobody talks about. I'm going to be publishing on Search Engine Journal a lot about this, I think, in the future. So do they search the brand company brand, the brand of the people in the company, the executives or the experts? Do they search the product brand name? Then what no one's talking about, the study brand name. So if you have like branded studies and branded research, are people actually searching that name in Google? You can use Google. I like to use Google Search Console for that specifically. Sometimes SEMrush or other keyword tools to help, but Google Trends typically doesn't pick it up. But using Google Search Console, you see if people actually searched the page and are also landing page clicks for the studies, or if you have unique things that you're promoting, right? So if you're again, authority is not domain authority. Authority is an audience. Google's thinking about this from the audience perspective now, and it has the technology to do it better than ever before, right? To actually understand if you're relevant to the audience. It can track people. It can track when somebody goes to Google, searches your brand name, and then goes to your websites and click, right? And was that somebody relevant to your audience? Google understands that. So brand search volume, and then once they get to the site, brand search volume for those general categories. And once they get to the site, do they take action?
And that was perfect. It puts us right at the top of the hour. So, yeah, Kevin, my favorite question for the end is tell people where to find you, but you left that nice slide with it with all your information. So, yeah, on LinkedIn, and we'll make sure that everybody gets the slides that'll have the links to the courses, and the recording from today. I know a few people had to jump off early, but lots of thanks and praise in the chat, Kevin, for the information you shared. So yeah, big thanks from Engine Journal for sharing that expertise with our readers. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Heather. Bye.
Awesome. Everyone have a great day. We'll talk to you next time.